This is the Forerunner, and I just want to talk to you for a moment. I hear God telling me in my spirit that His people are hurting, His people are scared, His people are frightened over the things that they are seeing happening all around them. That His people are so unsure of everything that's happening. They're scared. And here's a message for you all. That remember how far He has taken you. Don't be like the children of Israel, who, as God did things for them, and they were walking, He freed them from Egypt, out of the hands of Pharaoh. They were slaves, and He gave them their freedom. But that wasn't enough for them. You know, they prayed for years for someone to come, for God to send someone to help free them from the slavery that they were experiencing. Then, so God sent someone. He sent Moses. And He freed them out of the grips of Pharaoh. But they were happy when they left. And they walked out into the desert. They were following Moses. They took all their family, their livestock, everything they had. Pharaoh had given them a gold and silver, and so they had everything they needed, and they took off into the desert, following Moses. And they were just as happy as they could be. But how quickly our carnal minds put things to the side. So after walking out there for a while, they just forgot about their freedom that God had given them, and they started complaining about all kind of things. And Moses would go to God, and the people are complaining. What should I do? They want food. They're out of food now. They're complaining because there's nothing to eat. God told him, Moses, go back and tell him I'm going to provide for him. They woke up the next morning and manna sitting there on the ground for them to eat. God giving them food from heaven. Manna was angels' food. And that wasn't enough for them. They forgot what God had did for them. With Pharaoh coming behind them and the mountains all around them, God opened up the Red Sea and they crossed on dry land, not on muddy ground where they had to swim across the water, not that they had to walk through all that mud and sink and get stuck and had all these problems. They walked on dry land across the Red Sea to the other side. But their carnal mind got in the way. And they still complained. They asked for forgiveness each time they complained, and God provided for them. They asked for forgiveness for complaining, but it wasn't long before they were complaining again. And they complained the whole time. Throughout the whole 40 years, they complained. That is the reason why half of them, majority of them, never made it. And not only did they never made it over into the promised land, but Their children didn't make it. It was generations had to cease before they went over into the promised land. So you now are standing at the promised land, looking at it. Quit complaining. You're not only saving your life and your situation, but you're saving your children, your grandchildren, and for generations to come. You show them how to trust, rely, and depend on God. It's not for your sakes, for your children's sakes, for your grandchildren's sakes, for your family's sakes. You show them how to trust and rely and depend on God. Stop a minute and look at what God has done for you. Not what he hasn't done, but what he has done. Go back to memory and call up the things that he had done for you, that he's done for you. And I'm not talking about going back and saying when Jesus walked the earth and he died on the cross, oh, he did do that for you and for me. But I'm talking about your life right now, where you are. Look back and see what God has done for you. The time when you were driving down the street and that car came out of nowhere, but it missed you. And for the life of you, you can't figure out how it didn't hit you. And you know if that car would have hit you on the broadside, he probably would have taken you out. Think back on the times when you were playing and when you were little and you were playing and your friend swung a bat and you moved right at the time the bat would have hit you in the head and possibly gave you brain damage. It's not by coincidence. Nothing happens by coincidence. Everything has been planned by God. He said, I knew you, informed you when you were in your mother's womb. So you think that the things that have happened in your life is coincidental? By luck? By chance? If you're not a believer, then you are living by chance. Because any given time now, things can happen because Satan is not on your side. You can call him Satan, you can call him the devil, you can call him whatever you want. In Revelation in the Bible, they call him the devil and Satan. But Satan he's the prince of darkness, the prince of evil, the evil world. And he has spirits, evil spirits that travel around that he sent out. Because when you read in Revelation, it says Satan was kicked out of heaven and he took a third of the angels with him. Now, what is a third of the angels? I don't know. Because we don't know how many angels there really are. We don't know how many angels exist. So the third of the angels could be 3, and it could be 300, it could be 3,000, it could be 3 billion. We don't know how many angels exist, but we know a third of them fell out of heaven. And so those are the ones that's running around. And they putting little ideas in your head and they whisper. And they don't come to you and say, oh, you, look at you. You can't do nothing right. They come to you in first person. They come to you and say, have you put it in your head and you say, I can't do nothing right. First of all, the first thing you did, have accepted what they said about you. And the minute you did that, they had you. Because you put what God said about you over to the side. And you accepted what Satan said about you. I can't do anything. I can't do anything right. I'm so afraid to go talk to my boss about that raise. God said, you are the righteousness. I have not given you a spirit of fear. So when that fear enters into you, what you say to yourself is, my God has not given me a spirit of fear, but of love and a sound mind. So, and you have that running through your body the whole time, and you can go talk to your boss about the raise or about the situation you're working in that needs to improve. Let God lead your way. But look at what He's done for you along the way. Reach back in your memory bank and pull out the things that He did. When things looked impossible, and right at the last minute, it all turned around. And if you don't have a testimony like that to give, then my suggestion to you would be, get in a good Bible teaching church. Get a Bible if you don't have one, and if you do have one, take it off the shelf, because if you don't have a testimony, your Bible's been sitting on the shelf. Take it off the shelf, dust it off, and open it up and start reading His Word. Start learning who your Creator is. Start learning about Him. Sit down and spend some time with Him, talking to Him, and not necessarily praying, but just talking to Him, telling Him about who you are. He knows who you are, but when you tell Him who you are, you're not telling Him something He doesn't already know. But what you're telling Him is, now you realize who you are. You realize your faults. You realize the gains you made. You realize your strengths and your weaknesses. And in the areas in which you're weak, you ask Him for the strength. Areas where you're afraid, you ask Him to make you strong, to bring that spirit of no more lack inside of you, so you don't have that fear anymore. You have this a regular conversation with Him. Tell Him what you appreciate about the things He's did around you. The grass that is green, the sun that came out, the rain that's falling. Just talk with Him and let Him talk to you. And then spend some time just quiet, meditating on Him, and let Him speak to you. Let Him walk you through whatever you're going through. Jehovah Nissi, call Him by name. He's the Lord our conqueror. The battle's not yours. You don't have to fight that battle. Whether you fighting the battle with a lack of finances, or you're in a battle with your spouse and your marriage is falling apart, whether you're in a battle with your children and they're going astray, whether you're in a battle with depression and it's trying to take the best of you, whether you're in the battle of the fact that a loved one has gone, God has taken a loved one away, and you're hurt and you're trying to deal with all the pain that goes with it, and you don't understand it, it's not clear, your whole life is falling apart, and you can't hold it together. You don't know how, you don't have the strength, you don't have the willpower, you don't have nothing that it takes to face tomorrow. What has happened today is overwhelming, and you can't figure out how you're going to make it to tomorrow. Let go. Let go into God's grace. Let go and fall back into the Lord. Allow Him to come in and give you the peace that surpasses understanding. He tells you He will give you the peace. Not as the world gives peace, but as He gives peace. He will give you rest in your heart. He would help you place all those confused, mixed up feelings, all those thoughts that just running through your head and you can't get it together. He will sort through them all for you and place them where they need to be. He will come in and conquer and divide all that is not of Him, all that Satan is putting in your head. First thing he's going to do is come in and kick Satan out. He's going to kick all those evil thoughts away. He's going to kick everything that's negative and contrary to Him away from you. He's going to get them away from you. Then He's going to embed into you His wisdom, His peace, His love, His strength. And He's going to remind you of who you are. You are a child of the living God. And that's what He means. He says, you just call on me, I'll be there. You know, you're going through something serious. It's life-threatening. It's overwhelming you. And you've called everyone you know how to call. You've called your banker. You've called your mother. You've called your spouse. You've called your best friend. You've called your pastor. Maybe you know the Pope personally and you called him. You've called the bishop. You've called the psychiatrist. You've called the medical doctor. You've called everyone on this earth that you know that should be able to help in some form or way. You've called everybody, on everyone. Some of them you called 2 or 3 times. Some have just decided to come and just rest at your house with you. Just stay there with you. Your mother, your sister, your brother. They're just going to stay there with you for a few days to help you. You called everyone. And with all the people that you've called, you're still sitting with unanswered questions. You're still sitting stressed out. You're still sitting with worry all over you. You're still sitting with that fear that's covering you. You're still sitting with that unsureness, and the only thing, they're telling you one thing, and the only thing you really actually hear in your head is that I just can't see how. I just can't see how. I can't see how I'm supposed to make it. I don't see how I'm going to get through tomorrow. I don't see how I'm going to get through the rest of the day. I don't see how I'm going to make it. I just don't see how. I understand what you're saying, but you don't understand what I'm feeling. This is what you're telling the people that you've called to help. You just don't understand what I'm feeling. You just don't. You just don't understand what's going on inside of me. Or your mind has gone so. Satan has walked in and has taken and captured your thoughts, so that you don't even really understand what's happening yourself. If your mind is so much going on that you can't put things in perspective. Everything is completely out of whack. You've called on everyone, and things are still out of whack. That's the time that your Father, your holy Heavenly Father, your Creator, your brother Jesus is sitting, and the angels in heaven are publicly, let me go to them. Look how they're hurting. Let me go tell them. And Jesus is saying, no. They have to come around. They have to come around. And soon you say, Lord, soon you place it in your heart and say, Jesus, He's right there. He's right there. And He's right there, and He's sorting it all out for you. All you have to do is stop right now. Stop listening to this video. Stop listening to this CD. If you're listening to this CD or you're watching this video, stop right now. If you're that person, then you stop right now, and this right where you are, and just say, Lord, please come inside of me and help me. I give you my life. Take control. And mean it from the bottom of your heart. And just stay there. Stay right where you are. Don't move. And let Him come in. Just tell Him you can't do it. Just let Him come in and take all that stress, all that you're going through, all those thoughts that's out of whack, all that pain that's in your heart, all that's running through your body, and you can't pull it together. You just cannot pull yourself together. Take all that and lay it on the altar to Him. Just tell Him He has it. You can't do it. You give up. But soon you let go, he's going to grab on. And he's going to do what you can't do. He's going to do what your doctors can't do. He's going to tell you things that your mother can't tell you. Not that she won't tell you, if she could tell you. She can't tell you because she doesn't know to tell you. He's going to walk you through it. Step by step, day by day. If you lost a loved one and those feelings inside, I can't tell you I understand because I don't really understand. I haven't lost anyone immediately in my family. I have lost a aunt that she was only 6 years older than I am, and we were really close. And that it took a lot for me to learn. I leaned on the Lord to help me through it. But if you lost a child or your spouse, I can't tell you I understand because I don't. I really don't. But I know. And as hard as it is, and I'm sure it is, I can imagine that it is one of the worst, it is the worst thing that we can ever experience in this fleshy body. And as a parent, I can imagine you give your life to have your child's life back. I can't even begin to fathom what it must feel like. I'm gonna be honest, I really can't, because I haven't. It hurt my heart so deep, and it cut so deep in my heart just to know that someone out there is hurting that deeply. It hurt me to, I feel the weight, and it hurt deep inside. But my God is here, and he's telling you, if you just call on him, if you just say, Lord, just call on him, and he'll give you the strength you need. He'll give you the wisdom and how to walk through it. He'll give you the peace. The battle's not yours. You're not in that alone. You're not standing by yourself. He's there. He's right there waiting on you to call his name. And that's all you have to do. Is call his name. And that weight will be lifted off of you. I'm not going to tell you you're going to have the answers that you're looking for. But the weight will be lifted off of you. And he'll walk you through this, step by step, day by day. Just call on him. God be with you. His mercy and grace cover you.